Okay, having arrived in Holiday Beach Conservation Area to check out the proposed disc golf area. I'll have the original map and the newly changed one. I parked here and walked up around this area first, so I'll show you that. Okay, I've just come into Holiday Beach just to make a bit of a recording, give people some idea of what the area is that they're planning to put the disc golf course. So this is the old washrooms that they renovated a couple of years ago now, I think, been open. But the map shows coming around here, and the statement's being made there'd be no trees removed or things except invasive species, which they did say was red mulberry, which is a endangered native species, but I think they might have corrected it. I only took them 2 years to be thinking this and realise that it's white mulberry is the problem. But here you go, here's the first big set of trees, tall pine trees, and you can see up to probably, I don't know, 12 feet now. They've taken the branches all off of that, and that's not an invasive species, and there's obviously only one reason. These are getting cleared. I'm not sure what this tree is that they've totally cut down at the bottom. I'd have to do some research into that, but that might be the invasive species they're doing. But they have cut that tree, so we've got a lot of brush that they've already cut down. Moving across, I'm sure this will be one of the golf holes. We've got a lot of brush. They don't even clean up after themselves, they just make the mess and then leave it. So, you know, I paid $12 to get in here and trip over this stuff. Then here we go again. I'm not exactly sure of the species of this tree, but we've got limbs that are being cut off and just left on the ground. Another one there, walking right round the tree. Another tree in front of me. That looks like a maple with the branches being cut off. So again, that's probably, I'm over 6 foot tall. This branch is above my head, so we're gonna say, what, at least 7 feet off the ground. They've cut that branch off, which is quite a thick branch. It hadn't been a problem for years, but all of a sudden, wonder why it's become a problem. And if I move around to the back of this tree, same thing again. We've got, now this is probably 8 feet above. We've cut this branch off, that's 8 feet above the ground. So far, I've only left my car, what, 30 meters, and we've already seen that they're chopping tree branches off that weren't a problem before, but have all of a sudden become a problem. I'm going to walk up. This is actually one of the best areas for birds in the park. A bit more compact, big regeneration area over here. And again, there was a bit of a regeneration area here, which I do believe it's not going to be part of the disc golf course area, but they did do a bit of a clean cut in there. Cut grasses back, made what I thought was maybe they're going to open camping again. A couple of spots back there, not sure the one for picnics, but there's usually quite a lot of ticks and mosquitoes in there in the summer. But they did clear some sort of trails back in there. Maybe show that later too. But we'll come up to the next tall pine tree, and it looks like already again cut low branches off of this. Again, for years this hasn't been a problem, but something's happening in the park that these branches, again, I'm going to say up to maybe 10 feet, are now being clear cut around underneath a tree. So you can guess what that's for. Again, branches left in the ground, some other small branches being cut. I'm sure this will be clear cut, whatever this is in front of me right here. Again, I'm not an expert in trees, so not exactly sure what they're chopping down, but the pine tree has clearly had the low-hanging branches off so that they can get their disc golf course set up beautiful. So again, I'll just keep walking to the back here. Some old tree stumps, slightly reduced there over the years, old ones. I think they might have come down on the storms a few years ago. This grass is not obviously manicured like their front lawn if you're into that kind of thing, but definitely cut, looked after a little bit, which is always the bird watchers, photographers, the naturalists walk around here. So the course on the map does extend up this trail here. This is where they seem to dump their branches, is back in here, which is fine. It's good for habitat. And they got the grass cutting here up here. So this takes you out to the north end of the road. Right at the end of this here, they've got signs up about prothonotary breeding. Don't stay too long, 5 minutes. Be quiet, keep the flashes off your cameras and what have you. But right along this these trails, so you've got probably, I'll say 20 feet wide, if you don't count these small trees that are planted. If not, if you're counting that, you're down about 15 feet of space on here. And this is on their map where the disc golf course would finish, right about here. There's a robin finding some worms. Would have to tell you, Robin, you'll probably be getting a disc in the head, so you be careful. So this is where probably one of the last holes for their disc golf course will end, but we've already got breeding birds here. The robins will be in here making nests. Yeah, don't care about robins, I guess. I'm not sure what they need to care about, but this is an important bird area, designated global designation for this, and we're going to put disc golf in it. Not a Parks and Rec park. This is somebody went out of their way to get a important bird area designation for it, probably getting them some grants and funding, but also they want money both ways. They want to get people coming in here throwing discs, frisbees in the round. Unfortunately, again, not saying I have any problem with people who play those kind of activities or sports. I think it's a sport, but I've been told it might be an activity. I'm assuming there must be some sort of legal implication about having sports in here or having activities. But this is, again, one of the best areas for seeing birds. I can hear them. There's a bee. You'll get hit too. Don't worry about the bees, they're not important either. So this little bump out would have been one of the camping spots in the past, but this is where the disc golf is going. So already demonstrated one area where they're already not clear cutting trees, but clear cutting branches off to a certain height, which have been that way for years. The branches have grown. They had areas there that weren't a problem, but there seems to be an activity that's going to be coming here that's making it a problem. Now we're starting to move down out of that narrow area into a wider one, which, well, I don't know what way they're going to lay the course. Not particularly interested, because it's not important. What is important is that the videos that you see, it's a high-speed sport, throwing things around, hitting chains. Whenever the holes, it's little metal chains that hang into the baskets, and the disc hits the chains and drops into the basket to get their hole. That's what they consider the hole. So we've got this wide area, and this was traditionally just parking, or not traditionally campsite, but it's become just overflow parking, I believe. On grass, there's no like proper parking, like a asphalt or whatever. It's letting the cars come in, park wherever they want, have a picnic, whatever. Last time we're back down to where those trees were by the washroom. Stop the video for now and come back. We'll walk from over there down and around here before going across to there. So here's the widest part of the marked out area for the disc golf course. Got the little path or the road coming down the side. There is a regenerated area to the far side there, which is like the west side of the thing. I did notice it doesn't seem to be included in the map, but it was let to grow, the grass grow in it, and some trees planted, so hopefully that doesn't get mowed down. But down here, like, I haven't been in here for over a year because of how the parks run, but I'm not really seeing a whole lot of change. Just a lot of branches pulled over and laid over there, so they may not. But this is the wider area that the disc golf course are going to have the discs thrown around, and you can see quite a wide area, picnic area, really. I think this is where the transient camping was before. Go down to the far side there, straight ahead is the HBMO little cabin They have stuff going on. Come down here, I see a tree cut down here. Walking through here, just not sure if it's a tree or a branch, but got one. Just walk around the whole area just to see how things are going before anything happened. Well, I thought it was before anything happened, but obviously things already started to progress, and there is branches and what have you getting cut off. Actually, just to the side of a whole big tree they've clear cut. So I'm not really sure where this branch is from here. I don't know, maybe kids grabbed it from that other brush pile up there. That was way up past the washrooms over there. But if we go across here, here's another large pine tree, and they've cut. Well, that's probably what tree's from over here. They've again, this is branches they've cut off. This is probably up to about 15 feet, maybe more, off this tree here. Guaranteed they weren't. I was guaranteed they wouldn't be cutting anything that wasn't an invasive species or nuisance. And nuisance or danger. I don't think a branch at 20 feet's a danger to anybody. And that's the same with that tree up there. But trees obviously that have died, you need to manage them. But as you can see, this whole area around this, so you're talking what the branches with this tree is where there's a lack of grass growth. The whole area is probably 25 feet. I'll keep jumping from feet to meters. Fortunately, I learned one thing and had to learn another. But you get the idea. You got a lot of trees cut down there, close to this one. As you can see the size of these trees. If there's a problem with them, like there we go, just to give you a reference, that's the size of the tree there that was cut down. If it was an invasive species, why wasn't it taken care of well before this? Same thing, I'll just put my foot out here. You know, this is large trees that have all of a sudden needed to be cut down. So, no, that's 2.5 feet trunk that was taken off there. And same again if I move over here, another area where we've got branches and trees. I don't know what this one really is. I think it was just stuff on the ground. But there was clearly a tree coming out this far because there's no grass underneath. Not enough sunlight for grass to grow. But you can see more trees of all different types, branches. These look like these were cut straight off. This is that I'm not even gonna hickory. I don't think that's hickory. But again, I'm not a tree expert, so don't take my word for trees. But I was told the only thing that was coming out was white mulberry, and so far there's at least 3-4 different types of tree that I'm seeing being cut. But there you go, all cut down here. And this is all of a sudden an area that needs to be cleaned up for some strange reason. But this is for a sport stroke activity that isn't going ahead yet. You know, it's approved by the board, but in the conversation they try to make it sound like backpedaling, try to make it sound that it's possibly not going ahead. But for some not going ahead, they're doing a lot of work. You know, nothing, then all of a sudden $10,000 donation, getting worded funny in their minutes as some sort of grant. I'm sure there's a little loophole there that they're trying to get around, but again, special interest party said here's $10,000 if you put a disc golf course in, not here's $10,000 because I think ERCA need it. So again, interesting how things work. This is I'll check the map again, but I do believe the disc golf course goes further than this. There's another track up here, so I'll look at that. But again, here we go, full length. This is where they dump brush the whole way up the side. I've cut the grass here. Okay, so after going down towards the HBMO office down here. I walked up here. This area has been overgrown for a long time. This was one of the areas that they have cut back. Also, changed it. Well, it doesn't matter. I'm changing the pen. This area has a tree line here. There was another parking area. Doesn't look like they're gonna touch this, but this has regeneration, so longer grass, and I think some trees planted in there. Okay, having looked on the map again, the updated map, so I'm not looking at the old map, updated map of the disc golf course area. This was include this, so that's their maintenance building. That's HBMO's cabin office, and this area that has been left just piles of junk for years. As you can see, it's just rubble, blocks and everything in here. But all of a sudden we're going to be clearing this here. Sod, the looks of it. This was left again, regeneration area, coming in from the tree line because nothing's being used here. I came in quite a bit, and they've been cutting the grass up here, mowing it, cutting it back as far as I can. Little zigzag path, well not zigzag, well, a wavy path up here. This has all become habitat. When they leave the brush, so there was a tree here that it's just to show that they let it grow over. Now they're wanting to cut it back. Another one here. So this was a roughed in area that all of a sudden has again just started cutting trees back to make way for something. Here's where they've dumped the brush. So this is probably as far as the course is going to go, the width of the course. But they've chopped the tree down, so they've just left them, cut these trees down. So I'm not sure if this is white mulberry. Hard to tell what it is at the minute because there's no leaf on it. And yeah, tree recognition thing. Oh, look at that! Can you hear it? There's a little catbird singing, calling a mate. Going to build a nest, and unfortunately, what'll happen to that bird? We all know. Seen the video of what happens to birds when they get in the way of the discs. So again, this is where brush has been left, cutting down trees and just leave them to lie here, which in general, when you have it as a habitat for wildlife, is a good thing. But as you can see, this is all just cut. Stand like more and more trunks here. This is all left. These are, well, that one's not a trunk, this one's a trunk definitely. There's another trunk of a tree that, their first size, that's probably 4 inches. More trees cut back there, lots of them. And I'm not sure of the species. This might be the white mulberry, we'll have to investigate a bit more. But there's been plenty of cut back. And if this was such a problem, why was it not done before? And another one, just to show that they're trying to widen this as much as possible. I'm not sure what these are. You just see that these are all small sapling type trees that have grown. There's some white-throated sparrows. Hear them calling there. Again, this is perfect habitat for them. A lot of the warblers and the sparrows are ground feeding, ground dwelling birds really, and this would be perfect nesting habitat for them. But this is now being cut back, widened, grass cut back there. So don't know if they're going to cut these down. Maybe they didn't want to run their lawnmower over these, and somebody's job of cutting things down hasn't got this far yet. But maybe they're staying. This bit here, as you can see, if you just look over here, you'll not really be able to see it, but this is just alive with oh, bear with me. As you can see, the birds all inside that. You can hear them. There's one hopping up to the top. Oh, hear the songs of white-throated sparrow. Lots of white-throated sparrows at the minute. Probably some other things, but it wasn't making this. I can't really look. But this whole area right now is just crawling with birds. All just going through there. There's another one hopping up to the top. Just coming to the end of this trail area that is included on the map for the disc golf course. I'm guaranteeing you I'm walking through great nesting habitat, because I've watched birds nesting, including screech owls in this very area here. There's trees with cavities in them that screech owls have used and nested in. There's also some other nesting mammals in this area and have been for years. Some decent sized trees, but this has been left overgrown for a bit. Like you see, the trees have been cut back to make room for their nonsense. That's not an approved event, or not sure if offense the word there, approved activity for the park. So that's the end of it, and then it takes you back around towards the washroom area where this is going to continue through. Finally, I did walk up this area that this has been totally overgrown for years, up in this, along that, and then it comes across. There has been a historic or existing trail that was relatively narrow that comes down and goes around here. There's a couple of bump outs in here, like 3 of them. This one was cut grass, and grass is now growing short in that area. They must run the lawnmowers in there more often. That first area, this one and this one, looks like they've got trees dumped in it. Shrubs and bushes that they've cut back, tree limbs they've cut off, seem to be in there. This was relatively narrow, and the video will show you it's now like they go like this. Same as going up through here. They've cut grass like that, overgrown grass. You can see small trees have been cut down. Branches cut off, trees, limbs to about 7 feet, 7 to 12 feet. Limbs lower than that have been cut off the trees that were never a nuisance, never in the way, never a danger, weren't dead trees. And you could just walk down here, no problem. This has all been taken off their discourse area for now, but the other map I'll show you has that on it. And my feeling is that they went in and cut that before they made any changes, and this was all for disc golf. Same as here, this is like a wavy line up here, so that the discs can be thrown, not just straight lines. Into this section across the road, this isn't included in the disc golf course area, but you see there, for some reason, you've got some trees cut down here. These are pretty significantly large trees that, if there were an invasive species, surely should have been dealt with before getting to this size. A number of them here, another one cut there. Maybe they're just so hard. Maybe you have to leave trees until they get the a massive size before you can cut them. Or you have to have an arborist talk about that. But this is just another area. As you can see, the way the grass is, it's very rough. This has been left to be overgrown, and all of a sudden they've come in here and they've clear cut the grass, not trees, clear cut grass. And same thing, we've got now, I will say, on their original map for the golf course, disc golf course, this was included. So maybe the tree maintenance people had already been signed up to do it, because we've got branches being cut everywhere here that didn't get the memo and just continued with their work. Because again, here we go, whole way up here to about 8 feet, branches all cut off the trees, and this was on their original map for the disc golf course. Maybe just somebody didn't get the memo, but again, same thing, another pine tree, and branches cut off to 7 or 8 feet, and this was overgrown. This was long grass. For longest time, if I was coming here, you couldn't come into this section. The trail, there's a trail just the other side of these large trees that you could walk on, just because it was worn up like a deer track really. But this here has been cut. Had a machine in here and cut things, and this was on the original map for the disc golf course. So I don't know when this was cut, if it was cut and then they've reconsidered where they're going to put the disc golf course, but that's even worse that they already just went ahead and have shown that they were doing whatever they wanted anyway. But You can see it's been cut in a certain manner, and again, branches here. Looks like this is run over with a lawnmower. But the whole way up here has been cut back, and this was again plenty of habitat for wildlife going on in here, and this has all been stripped back. So you're again probably 25 feet wide spacing with the grass being cut, and here we have more branches and trees chopped up. What you hear there is sandhill cranes that might, if it was looked after, nest in that marsh out here, because they are nesting not too far away. But with destruction going on, I wouldn't think they'll stick around. But I'm not sure if you can hear that, but sandhills are calling in the distance. I'll just continue up here, but it's all been chopped with a lawn mower of some description, probably heavy duty one that doesn't get damaged when you run over tree branches. So like I say, this is on the original outline, relatively newly cut trees there to clear space for something conservation area. So I've pretty much come to the end of this. It doesn't exit out. So this is probably where we would have to take a turn and throw a frisbee a different direction. But you can see just this right up to the very end of this, more trees being cut back, and this was an area that nobody came, so they've cut it back for a reason. And that's another tree. Must be white mulberry too, because that's what they said the only thing they're going to cut down is white mulberry. But that's another tree, and it might well be white mulberry, I don't know. But that's the only thing I can say. But considering I've seen at least 4 different species of tree that I could see, cut down, cut back, cleared. So that's kind of the end of the area. Gives you a better look at what was happening. Maybe the disc golf was going through here. Look, there's more trees chopped down, branches cut back, vines pulled off. But this was all on their initial map, so I'm not sure if this got cut down. As soon as they approved it, get the lawnmowers out, get the tractors out, get the chainsaws going, and let's get these cut. But this is going actually back quite a bit since I was here last. This was just like a deer track down here, and the grass is growing back because they've manicured it. And these little bump outs, there's 3, I think, 3 big bump outs like this, which I'm not sure if there's tents back in here in the day. There's that ridge that runs along, rises up about 13 or 14 inches along there. Yeah, very important area. This is easily the best area, or it was. Like with all this cut grass, it's probably not as good for migrating birds and nesting birds in this area. Important bird area designated. So there you go. So just again, didn't get too far. They've widened this area here. You can see the difference in the grass, the green grass to that sort of rough cut area that's got all their vegetation coming through. So they're widening that. Same thing again here up to about 8 feet. They've cut branches off trees that weren't causing an issue. That's the same the whole way down here. Again, here's different species, another tree that I don't recognise, but they've cut branch off here, cut it off here. But that's clearly happened the whole way down here. All these have been pulled out, chopped off, chopped down. Again, it could be white mulberry, maybe all white mulberry. I just don't know enough about trees. But same thing again here. It doesn't look like a white mulberry tree to me, but what do I know? So that's all cut. Same with this one. Now this is more what this path used to look like, just this kind of dirt from it just being like a deer track or something. And it wasn't really manicured in here, but the grass has been cut over the last couple of years. And same thing here. There we go. There's branches off there to about 7-8 feet. Same thing with this one. It's not a, well, I can't say it's not a white mulberry. I'm not an expert, so I shouldn't say. There we go. There's another tree branches sawn off. And this is one of these bump outs. Go further back, and they've taken a lot of brush back in there to fill it in. Guess that's alright, a bit of habitat, but destruction of habitat and then for making habitat. More branches lying around. And again, this one's obviously been cut for a while because the green grass of home is along this area. But come up to another evergreen tree that has branches cut off up to about 7 or 8 feet, and all pretty fresh cuts, so there's been an intent to do that in recent times. This is also another great area, so we've got another pile of logs that they've sawn off a tree here, back in here. I guess all just dumped in here. This is not where this came from, because that's just cuts. But they're certainly doing a lot of work for an idea that hasn't been passed. And this here's been chopped up. This tree here, we cut this tree down. Again, it must be white mulberry as well. There we go. More cuts. More cuts, except where they need to make some cuts. That's coming out. Now this is not on their new and improved, or new reduced, not improved, and reduced disc golf course. This is the original one, so my guess would be, it's just a guess, that this was cut in plans for the disc golf course and now they've reduced it. But that's even worse because they've already destroyed a lot of habitat and they're not even going to use it.